Hey YouTube, how's it going? Royce here, and boy, this has been a busy week. First, I reach Masters, and then I climb in Masters to qualify for Seasonals, and all of a sudden I have to make a lineup, and then I'm practicing for that, and then I'm actually participating in Seasonals, which was like a 12-hour thing, almost. And then I feel like I've barely had time to relax, but they've already announced the next set of cards, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a first impression video here. Just a caveat, of course, I can't tell the future. I don't have a crystal ball. I won't have any way to know for sure how good these cards are until the meta actually starts to shape up. Oftentimes, a limitation of these card reveals and the card assessments is that players and content creators will assess the strength of the cards in the decks that already exist. But the truth is, new decks will rise up because of these cards, most likely, if they're any good. Anyway, all of that is to say I'll do my best to assess these and to think about some use cases, but I encourage you to just be a free thinker and try them out, even if I think that they're not good. And even if I think they're good, definitely take that with a grain of salt. So let's go ahead and get right into the cards and see what we're dealing with here. So first I'm going to click on this initial article. I don't know if this will actually have any card reveals, but let's learn about it together, and I'll just be reading it out loud. Alright, new expansion, A Curious Journey. Play the final Beyond the Bandlewood expansion, A Curious Journey, on February 17th. Alright, it's exciting. It looks like a little cartoon. Oh, it's a video. Okay, I don't know if I can watch this on YouTube, but I guess we're going to do it. Hopefully this is okay.
Bandle Scouts are taught that if you're not ready for everything, you're not ready for anything.
Oh no! It's so terrifying! Teemo! Assuming that is Teemo, I'm not really sure. Probably not. No, that's a different Yordle, right? What are we dealing with here? I don't know who this is. Oh, it's the cat! I've heard about this, the cat with the book. My girlfriend was telling me about this. She's been following the League lore ever since we watched Arcane.
But the best adventures are usually the ones you never expected to take.
Uh-oh.
So, I think it's okay to not have all the answers. You just need the courage to keep looking.
This is adorable. Materials
Oh,
needed.
and friends to keep you out of trouble while you do. I can't wait to see where the next journey leads.
Wow, that was a good video. A Curious Journey. It says February 16th here. It said February 17th somewhere else. Oh man, how fun. I really like that reveal trailer. Alright, so let's go ahead and dig right into the text post here. New expansion, A Curious Journey. Ava's journey, like Ava Achiever, I guess, has reached its thrilling conclusion, and she's brought with her the final expansion of the Beyond the Bandlewood set, A Curious Journey. Read on to see the first card reveals of the season, and prepare for your own adventure when A Curious Journey releases next week. By the way, I haven't seen any of this. I don't know any of the cards that are coming out, except I assume that thing with the cat that has the book. I can't even remember the name. I'm going into all of this blind. Alright, new expansion, A Curious Journey. You've already seen the video. Oh, wait, first. Journey towards the Legends of Runeterra social pages over the next week for new reveals every day at 1 a.m. GMT +8, up until the release of A Curious Journey in patch 3.2 on February 17th. There's going to be quite a lot to discover on this journey over the next week. Be sure to get details on all the new cards and mobalytics and DAC.gg after each day's reveals. Here's a first look at some new cards coming in A Curious Journey. Alright, here we go. So let's go ahead and expand this. Hello? Alright, this is kind of hard to zoom in on further. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to read the effects though. Alright, so here we go. 3 mana Yordle. It's Bandle City Sharima, dual region. It's a 4/2. Okay. Attack. Grant the top champion in your deck +1/+1 and a random keyword. Top champion in your deck +1/+1 and a random keyword. Okay, so this is Bandle City Shurima. So this is pretty good on Poppy, for instance, because Poppy benefits from stat buffs so that she can buff more of your board. Let's see, Bandle City. I mean, I guess getting a 2/2 Teemo is pretty strong. Let's see, what else? What else in Shurima? So first what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look through these cards, and then I might go ahead and open my game client. Actually, let me do that really quick. I'm going to open this in the background, and then we can check these cards out in the context of a card library I can actually look at in a second. All right, Transposition. 4 mana fast speed spell, Bandle City. Recall an ally. Oh, shush. Shush. Recall an ally. The next ally you play this round with equal or less cost costs 0 instead. Okay, so it's kind of like this is a free recall and replay. But you don't have to replay the same thing. Interesting. So this is pretty strong if you can generate a unit, like if you can summon a unit that has like a high cost, but a pretty, like maybe a strong play effect. I mean, yeah, if you play it, you want it to have a strong play effect. If you generate it, you just want it to have a high cost. You don't care the stats, and then you just play this, and then you get out something else expensive. Interesting. Seems kind of, okay, so what's the average scenario? If you don't build around this, what's happening? Call an ally. Okay. Well, we are seeing some synergies with Ahri, of course, like Ahri, Yasuo, things like that. Let's see. Does this have a home in Ahri Kennen, though? Well, actually, no. Ahri Kennen is Ionia, so you can't run this in Ahri Kennen. All right. Bandle City. I don't know about this one. Okay, 3 mana, Heroic Refrain. Give 2 allies +2/+1 this round. So this is just identical to, I think it's called, let's actually check here. There's, I think, a Targon card which does something very similar. It's like Stand United or something. Let's see, it's 3 mana, Targon. We stand together. Okay, so this is just Bandle City's version. You get power instead of health. All right, so again, that's good on something like a Poppy. And for a second, let's just check the Bandle City Champions while we have this open. So, champions from Bandle City and Shurima. And of course, it could be some other region, since that's dual region. You can just slot it into a Bandle City deck and play a different region. But let's check Shurima Bandle City to start with. Stat buffs, huh? And a keyword. And a keyword. Oh, putting this on Renekton would actually be pretty nice. You could buff a Renekton so that just 2 strikes without the actual buff condition will level him. That's an option. What else? Is there keyword synergy we can make use of? That's all of the direct synergy that I see. Let's go ahead and check keywords. I don't know if it'll actually like only show me things that relate to keywords, which is what I'm looking for, if it'll show me everything with a keyword, which is going to be way too much. So all regions. Okay, so everything with a keyword is going to show. That's not going to work. Okay. And then, all right, let's get back to the reveals here. Now we have Spirit Portal, a 4 mana focus speed spell from Bandle City. To play, discard 1. Grant all allies +1/+1. Ooh. Okay. So this is focus speed so that you can swing directly afterward, right? +1/+1. It's a grant. So obviously, this can be unfavorably compared to something like Yordles and Arms or For Demacia, right? Because it's almost as expensive as those cards at 4 mana instead of 5 or 6, and it's only +1/+1, and you have to discard. But I think that Bandle City has a decent amount of discard synergy, doesn't it? See, Bandle City, and more might come as well, so consider that. Okay, I'm actually misinformed. So I think that more what I'm thinking about is the Rumble package. So maybe this would go well in a, let's see, that's a Bandle City card, right? Like a Bandle City Noxus or Bandle City, like P and Z perhaps, Mecha Yordle deck. Okay, and it's not going to go in a deck where you want to close things out immediately. It's not really for a deck where you want to be taking advantage of the Bandle City aspect of playing cards from like every region. This is more of just like a value play. Okay, interesting. It seems a little bit expensive, but having it at focus speed is really nice. Interesting. And we do already have a decent amount of discard activators, though, especially with things like Electro Harpoon and Scrap Heap and Rumble himself. I'm not sure if we need more discards. This has to go in a deck that can generate a lot of stuff. You want to have discard fodder, and of course you want to be discarding favorable things like Flame Chompers if you're in PNZ, or if you're in Noxus, you want to be discarding like, it's called like Fallen Rider, right? It's Noxus. Yeah, like Fallen Rider, Lost Soul, stuff like that. So this could sort of help a Mecha Yordle deck come together. All right, let's keep going. Oh, there are a lot here, aren't there? Okay, let's go through a little more quickly. All right. 6 more. Yordle Portal. Okay, that's a mouthful. 3 mana, Bandle City. To play, discard 1. All right, there's discard stuff again. This is burst speed, by the way. Manifest a Yordle that costs 3 or less and summon it? Oh, interesting. Play, discard 1. Manifest a Yordle that costs 3 or less and summon it. I like this card, and let me tell you why. You get to use spell mana. You don't get play effects. But you get to use spell mana, which is important. And if you manifest a 3 mana Yordle, which I think you will, I kind of wish it said manifest a Yordle that costs 3 and summon it. So if on average you're only getting a 2 mana Yordle, but you can summon it with spell mana, I think that's about fair, but then you also have to make a discard. Interesting. So there's this balancing act here between like flexibility, where it's cool that you can like choose the right Yordle for the situation, but also like this game, just like any card game, is full of a lot of cards you wouldn't want to play in your deck. So I think that we're kind of relying on the strength of this manifest mechanic to determine how strong this is, and we're also relying on the pool of Yordles that we have available. So let's look at what's already in the game after this, and we'll maybe make some more conclusions about that. Okay, Fae Sprout. Manifest a Fae and grant it +1/+1. Okay, so 1 mana, basically draw a card, give something +1/+1. That seems really good. Yeah, that seems really strong. I mean, it depends on the strength of these Fae cards. Let's learn more. Oh, this is our Hungry Owl Cat here. We've seen this guy before, or this girl. 3 mana Fae Aid. Burst. Create a Hungry Owl Cat in hand. Then grant Fae allies in hand +1/+1. Okay, so at worst, you're basically paying 3 mana to get a 1 mana 3/2. Okay, not very good. So you're counting on having a lot of Fae cards in hand, but let's compare this very favorably to a card that already exists, albeit I think it's in Ionia. And that card is Sown Seeds, I think. So compare these two cards. This one says, for 1 mana less, yes, it gives all of your allies in hand buffs, but it doesn't buff their health. So for 1 mana more, you get a free thing to be buffed, and you're giving everything health, and you're building your deck around it. So I mean, most of the cards in your deck are probably going to be Fae, right? How many things have the Fae tag so far? Does Hungry Owlcat actually have it? Yes, it does. Okay, so Fae are primarily in Ionia and Bandle City. And you could run this in an Ionia Bandle City deck since it's dual region. So far, Loping Telescope, Bandle Commando, maybe Pix and like Tasty Feyfolk are the playable ones. Oh, but this actually can fill up your hand with Hungry Owlcats, or can start to do that to give you bigger buffs. And then you're getting a wide board of Owlcats that have Spell Shield, and they're also buffed. And you can also buff that board with was there a card that like buffs everything by +1/+1? Yeah, it's everything. It's not just Yordles. So we might be seeing like a Fae Swarm kind of deck, like a value in Swarm deck. All right, Gleaming Lantern, 3 mana, 3/3. Each round, the first Fae you play costs 2 less. Does this count itself? It probably doesn't, right? Because, well, I mean, you play it, but you've already played a Fae that round. So does this like that interaction will change how good this card is? I think if you can curve this directly into a free 2 mana Fae card, then this card is like busted, in my opinion. Otherwise it seems like fair. You're playing a 3 mana 3/3. You're cheating out these Fae cards. So okay. So it's a 3 mana 3/3. You're getting 2 free mana per turn, kinda. But I mean, you're at most. I mean, that's if you're not playing like a 1 mana Fae. That's assuming you have one to play. That's assuming this can stick around. You know, that's assuming you actually have enough cards to make this worthwhile. How can we compare this to Bandle City Mayor? So Bandle City Mayor has a similar effect. It's a 3 mana card. This has +1/+1 in stats, so it's more survivable. And this gives you a bigger buff. But Bandle City Mayor also manifests something, and I think that it's going to be easier to play multi-region cards than it will be to play, like multi-region units, than it will be to play Fae units. This seems like, okay, so it's not a strictly better Mayor. I would say this seems like a maybe better Mayor, but for a worse archetype. That's how it's looking right now. Blastcone Seedling. Here's our 2 mana Fae. 2 mana 2/2. Play. Grant me barrier this round. Excuse me. Grant me barrier this round, or grant me impact. Okay. So I think with this card, you're usually going to take barrier, right? 2 mana 2/2 barrier. That feels really strong defensively. Think about how often like Brightsteel Protector on 2 is a valuable play. Like think about how this just shuts down some things. Like this shuts down Akshan, for example, if they don't want to actually buff it. What else? I mean, yeah, just a barrier is like a really premium keyword, even though it only lasts for 1 round. And just the flexibility of also giving it impact if you want to go more aggro seems really good. So I think if the Fae deck ends up being a thing, this card will probably be a premium 2-drop. Grandfather Fae. When I'm summoned, create a Hungry Owlcat in hand. Okay, more Owlcat generation. When you summon another Fae, grant it +1/+0. Alright, so we're seeing here this kind of yeah, this is just like the classic Bandle City thing, right? Like generating a lot of cheap things, swarming the board, buffing the board, right? What's Bandle City's weakness supposed to be again? Isn't it supposed to be like, it's not really removal, right? Because you've got Buster Shot and Pokey Stick and Group Shot and stuff. What is it, card draw? I guess? They have problems with card draw? Okay. Summon, create a Hungry Owlcat in hand. When you summon another Fae, grant it +1/+0. Alright. Well, okay, so the core of the Fae deck right now is, so you're playing Grandfather Fae, right? I'm assuming. You're playing this, you're playing Gleaming Lantern. I mean, the deck makes itself so far. This card is kind of low tempo is the problem. Fae Aid is kind of low tempo. I'm not sure if what you want to be doing is spending 3 mana with no immediate board impact. Because these hand buffs are better if you they're better if you use them earlier in the game, right? Before you play out less of your hand. So maybe you like pass on 1 and 2, play Fae Aid on 3, buff like 4 or 5 things, play Gleaming Lantern, and then next round you go like Grandfather Fae, Owlcat, Seedling, Owlcat, or something. Like, yeah, you can have a really explosive like round 4 if you curve into it well. Manifest a Fae and grant it +1/+1. Yeah, this card seems amazing. Discard 1, manifest a Yordle. Yeah, so I would say that these Yordle cards, in comparison to the Fae cards, look a lot weaker. I think it's because the Fae archetype is a new one, so they have to push it more, but still. So we've got all kinds of different board buffs available to us. I can't really imagine Heroic Refrain being that good in one of these deck types we've discussed. The We Stand Together sees some play in Pantheon, not that much, but it sees some play in like Pantheon or Auction decks or something, just because of all of your faded units. But just Bandle City decks that lean into the card generation, that lean into the Yordle stuff, lean into the Fae stuff, are probably wanting to stay mostly in that region and not dip too heavily into a second region, just because they want to stick within the like the synergies of their archetypes. They want to stick with the Fae and the Yordle stuff. Maybe this could so maybe you go like Bandle City Ionia, right? And then this could be good with something like a Lee Sin, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like this wide board strategy doesn't pair very well with Lee Sin. What are our other Ionia champs, and what could pair well with these? Let's look at Bandle City too. What am I searching for? Champions. Okay, so let's look. Are there any Fae champions yet? Not really. Okay, so you could go with Tristana, but I think the multi-region thing is, you're not really leaning into the multi-region thing especially. I mean, you could. What cards here are multi-region? Okay, so these two are. Got it. So Grandfather Fae and Blastcone Seedling. Does Tristana care about you playing multi-region cards from like different region combinations? I don't think so, right? She doesn't really care, so this might be some Tristana support. Okay. What else? And it just feels like Poppy to me. It feels like Poppy's Tristana or something. But then again, I was playing like a Bandle City Swarm mash off stream the other day, so maybe I just have that in my head. Yeah, these cards, the second half of these cards feel really strong. The Fae stuff feels strong. I'm not sure really what you're doing with Hothead. I think Hothead will be a good card to generate, like to manifest, to pull off of Bandle City Mayor. I don't think you would necessarily run this over the what's the 3/2 card? Bomber Twins? I don't think you would really run this over Bomber Twins in Yordles and Arms or Bandle Tree. Because I think you just want cheaper cards. Call an ally. I feel like this just doesn't really get much done. Like you have to have a lot of mana up to be able to use it, and then what do? You just protect your card from some removal, and you get it back for free. No, you don't get it back for free. You still have to pay. You still have to pay this 4 mana. It's not a net 0. You know, you pay for this, and then you can replay the thing without paying its cost. So it's just kind of like 4 mana blink a unit. I think that's what they call it, like take it in and out of play, or out of play and into play. I'm not really sure. So I would say, yeah, Hothead is pretty mediocre. You're just going to manifest it. Transposition, I think, is not. It doesn't synergize well enough with the current recall package as far as like Ari Kennen, and it isn't efficient enough to just use as like a value card. Heroic Refrain probably isn't doing what Bandle City wants to be doing. Spirit Portal looks decent, but kind of like a little overpriced to play discard 1. I mean, you're generating a lot of Owlcats though, so you can discard Owlcats. So this could be good, but it depends on if like this is overkill together with Poppy as well, and like how much you want to be diluting your hand with spells. I'm not really sure the answer to that. Yordle Portal, discard 1. This card seems good. I wouldn't say great, but it seems good. It allows you to kind of cheat out a unit without spending unit mana. And the manifest part can be nice because it can get you clutch options that actually aren't even in your deck, but there's also going to be some variance there, and sometimes you're just going to be offered like nothing over 2 mana, and then this feels kind of bad. So good, but not great. Fae Sprout seems very good to me. Manifest a Fae and grant it +1/+1. Yeah, so this has the flexibility. Wait, did I say? Okay. So when I said 1 mana card draw, I was thinking of like 1 mana generate a card. I think this is in a Fae deck. I think this is probably like just as good as drawing a card. So I would call this like 1 mana draw a card, or maybe better. And you get some stats. That seems pretty good. Fae Aid. This one might be a little bit anti-synergistic because, again, it sort of requires you to have 3 mana to spend. I'm not sure how this deck wants to play. It's possible this deck wants to run a few, like... Yeah, like, this card and Spirit Portal are both in here if this is supposed to be, like, kind of a mid-range Swarm deck. Like a Swarm deck that wants to assemble pieces and then just kind of go ham on round 4 or 5 and get a bunch of buffs, get a bunch of hand buffs. I'm just not sure if that's going to be like fast enough. That feels like it kind of gets wrecked by other aggro decks that actually are aggro in like round 1 or 2. Gleaming Lantern seems amazing, and these two seem amazing. Yeah, these are the highlights, I think. But I might be... Also, Fae Sprout. I might be underrating Fae Aid or Spirit Portal. I'm just going to have to see which decks kind of arise. But yeah, there's my assessment. Y'all, I am so excited about these new reveals. These are the first reveals to actually be done since I started doing my YouTube, since I started doing my Twitch. And I'm just really excited to experience this set with you, to see the meta develop, and to try out some new decks. So if you enjoyed this video, a like on it would be amazing, as would a subscription on the channel. I put out YouTube videos literally every single day, and I'm going to start doing more, like a greater variety of content than just doing decks. I'm going to do card reveals. I have a video coming out soon, where I actually like coach a new player on getting started with Legends of Runeterra. I've got a video I'm working on about like improvement tips for beginners. I've got a tournament report coming out soon that might actually be up before this one, so definitely stay tuned. And yeah, subscription on the YouTube channel would be huge. I found that like my Twitch has been going pretty well, but my YouTube I've been like neglecting a little bit over the last month, so I definitely want to work harder on that and give you more unique, interesting content to see that will be exclusive just to this platform. So that's going to do it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow, maybe for some more reveals. See you then.